Ready, we can start. Yes, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's up, Uncle Ralph McDaniels. We are talking about the 914 area and some of my favorite videos from artists from the 914. Um, I'm going to start off with an artist that actually I worked with and did 2 videos for him and the group, Heavy D and the Boys. Um, and so we'll start off with Money Earning Mount Vernon, which was one of the early videos that we did for Heavy D. Um, and also we did Don't Curse for Heavy D. And and then there was a slow jam that we did. It was like a slow joint by Heavy D and the Boys too. But that was that with those two from Heavy D and the Boys, Don't Curse and Money Earning Mount Vernon, which had like some cameos in there from Albie Shore and
Right. Salt and pepper.
Pepper. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the early videos that me and my partner Lionel did. And then I'll go to Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Um, of course, TROY. They
Yes.
reminisce, over you and straighten it out
Mm.
from them. So many hits, from Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Big up to both of them. And then Grand Poobah.
Yes.
Grand Poobah. One of the requests I always get still to this day for Video Music Box is well, it was he was part of another group before he was just Grand Poobah solo and Brand Nubians. He was part of
Masters of Ceremony.
Masters of Ceremony, yes.
Right.
And people still to this Little C's from Junior Mafia loves that song. He's like, yo, man, when I was a kid, I used to love when you played that video. Music Box. And of course, when you go to Poobah, you got to look at. There's so many songs by Poobah. One of the top MCs in the world. I'm gonna just say I like it. But it could be anyone. Anything from Poobah is always great to me. I'll get to the Brand Nubian stuff separately. So, um, DMX,
Yes.
yeah. Wow, videos, so many videos. Well, we're gonna start off with "Get at Me, Dog," which felt like the tunnel. I'm not sure if they actually shot it in the tunnel, but it felt like it was at the tunnel.
Right.
And and what's my name? Oh man, there's so many videos from DMX. So it just that's one of my favorite people in the industry. Rest in peace to DMX and the Rough Rider Anthem. Oh, so many different songs, man. Let's see, the Locks. The Locks, we played them from day one on Video Music Box. And I guess FU was probably one of my favorites. We couldn't play it, but it was just the essence of what that moment it was all about. And let's see, what else we go from the Locks. They're featured on a lot of people's music and a lot of videos that we played. But I'm gonna go with the Locks. Wow, the Locks. What you call them? What's the one with the models? Oh man.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
With Eve. Oh man.
Man, now you got me. Just because you asked me, I can't think of it right
now. Well, anything from the Locks is good with me.
Right.
And then you got to look at them solo.
Yes.
You got to look at them solo. You can't just put them all in a box. Styles P, is amazing lyricist, man. And we played a lot of his stuff, so I just can't go with them as just brand Nubians, and the same thing for Jadakiss. So many videos that we play on Video Music Box, um, and Sheik Luch as well. Like
Right.
that's a power group individually as well. Just amazing music and just the essence of what New York or East Coast is all about. Um, I'm gonna go to Brand Nubians. So that's Pooh Jamal, and Sadat, and One for All. It's amazing. Then when Pooh was out for a minute, Punks Jump Up to Get Beat Down. We played
I,
that.
I love that joint because when Puba wasn't in the group, there was a certain segment that just assumed it was over for Brand Nubians. And
Right.
Punk's Jump Up and Get Beat Down was like, yo, we can still rock. I mean, we still exist. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they had that chip on their shoulder and they and surprised a lot of people. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That Punk Jump Up to Get Beat Down. That was mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then I played them from the beginning. People would want to go back and look at like Feel So Good. It was like a different era of hip hop. So it was kind of poppy, but they was still dropping knowledge in it. It was just the music was a little different. Let me see. Sadat by himself, Wild Cowboys. Um, um, oh man, Sadat's got so many songs, man. One of my favorite voices in hip hop is Sadat X, and and still continues to make music and put music out, and he sends me videos. So I love Sadat, and Sheik is like an old soul to me. When I didn't mention him earlier with the Locks, and Sheik, it's kind of like got that like that old soul sound to his music. When I think about him, the way he talks and the way he approaches things is always amazing to me. And the thing about the Locks and Brand Nubians is that it made us go to New Rochelle and Yonkers, and you had to go up there when they were giving something, and it's not like it's that far away, but I was like, oh, they got something going on in Yonkers. And at the time, probably in the 90s, I was living in Brooklyn, and I'd be like, no problem, boom, we heading up top, and it was all love from the whole community. For they were watching Video Music Box on the reg, so to see when I went to those towns, it was like, yo, this is crazy, like Ralph McDaniel was here, so they were happy, and that's the thing about hip hop at that time. And I never looked at Mount Vernon and Yonkers and other areas, like they weren't part of New York. I always felt like it was all one. The same thing with Long Island. I always felt like it was all one, and I don't know whoever started, trying to separate it in any way. But as far as people here, at least that I know that are really hip hop heads, they all love the sound. That's just the New York vibe. If it was a Rough Rider thing, if it was a Brand Nubian thing, and whatever it was all part of what New York sounded like.
What was your first thought when you first seen DMX video? Like all that energy, or what was your first thought of?
Well, the funny thing about that is that before I had a video from him, I had sent Crazy Sam that worked with us up
Yes, I remember.
to Yonkers to see somebody else. I can't remember who the other artist was. And when they got there, he was up there, and DMX showed up. Like he was just, like he was notorious in that hood.
Yes.
And he was like, "What? Video Music Box? What's going on? Y'all don't know about me? What?" And and everybody kind of like, oh, fall back because he's about to go in.
Right.
And he got on the mic and started, freestyling, and and that wasn't why we were there. It wasn't for DMX,
Right.
Then later on, Irv Gotti told me that he had signed DMX, and I was like, I know that name, but I didn't connect it with the same person that we had seen up in Yonkers prior to that. But I knew that he was a real artist, like he was different. He had something that most people didn't have. It's like when you like Biz Markie in a way, like he was different, like he did things, he talked different, he was into all kinds of stuff, and that was what made him, like different and stand out. Yeah.
What was your first thoughts the first time you heard of Brand Nubians?
First time I heard Brand Nubians, I felt proud. It was black, it was ultra black, it was unapologetically black, and they was just dropping so much, information. And to me, it was an extension of what Rakim had done. When he first got on the mic, and that's what I thought that hip hop should be as an older person in hip hop, because I'm a little bit older than hip hop.
Right.
And so hip hop records. And so I just, knew that it was entertainment, but it was education as well. There was so much information. And that's traditionally what artists have done, not just hip hop artists, been like leaders of the culture. And at that particular time, it was needed. There was a lot going on in the music business. It's just starting to get where it's getting ready to make a lot of money. So record labels are putting out all kinds of stuff, and it was needed, in a big way. Like that's like a classic album, that to me doesn't. When people hear it, they're right. I'm like, nah, man, that whole album was just, I could listen to that over and over still to this day.
Do you remember DST and the Infinity Rappers?
Oh yeah.
One of them is from Mount Vernon. One of them was from Mount Vernon. Godfather KC, who went on to be in touch. He's from Mount Vernon. Yeah. So he was like our first. His brother was in school with me, Ron. So it was like he brought the tape in, while we to listen to in class. And it was like the first time somebody from Mount Vernon was recorded. Like we was through the roof. Like, you know what I mean? That, somebody we knew in our town had a record out, like what was on the record. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that was like 82. He's like the first one, I guess, maybe in Westchester period to be on the record, I guess. Yeah, in hip hop.
Yeah, 82. Yeah, that was a big deal. Right. Cause I remember I could see the vinyl. And I
think it was DST cuts it up or something like that. On celluloid or something like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if they had a video. I don't remember if they had a video.
No, I don't remember ever seeing it. I never even remember seeing the artist. I just remember.
Oh, you never seen the? Oh, you said you know. Oh, okay, yeah. And it's funny. DST ended up cutting up parts of that record in the Herbie Hancock record that he did a year later. Rocket.
Oh yeah.
Are from that record that he's cutting up.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Now, I remember that celluloid.
The label,
label, and I remember, like they was putting out, street stuff, and so whatever they bought, like back then, you kind of bought anything that was, if you had the money, right. This got to be something on here that's good.
Right. So, what was the first video that you remember that was from Westchester that was like that you played that you was like, yo, this is Westchester or this is 914?
Was it Heavy D?
I think he may have predated. Well, Master Ceremony would have been before Heavy D, and then Heavy D was before Brand Nubians and before DMX and all of them. Yeah.
So, well, then it was Masters of Ceremony.
Right. Yeah. So, what did you think when you first saw that?
I didn't think of it as a 914 record because I just didn't know. I didn't know where they were from.
Right.
I didn't know where they were from. I just knew that it had like a little reggae vibe with
Don Barron.
Don Barron.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Pooh told me that Heavy D got a lot from Don Barron.
Oh, okay. I could believe that.
Yeah.
I could believe that.
Yeah. and he said that if you listen to the early stuff with Don Barron, and then Heavy D picked up on that.
Right.
Especially the reggae Jamaican vibe.
Right. So if you had to put him in like top 5 videos from Westchester, if you had to do a top 5 or your favorite 5, however you want to.
I would go with Heavy D and the Boys first, Brand Nubians, The Locks, DMX, and who was the other person we said?
Master Ceremony?
No. Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There was another Westchester artist. People didn't know he was from Westchester because he was down with Parrish. TQ, Top Quality. Do you remember him? In a record called Magnum Opus.
Yes.
Yeah, he's from White Plains.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's from White Plains, and I don't know. I think he was an unsigned hype, and Parrish snatched, got the tape from the source and signed him to his PMD/RCA record.
Okay.
He was like on the Hit Squad for a second. He was on the Hit Squad, but I don't think he had like Hit Squad success though. So it like came and went. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember now. Now it's starting to, like, I can remember Paris talking about him and he being part of that, and maybe a couple of jams he got on and did a little something. Yeah.
So I think there were others, but those are the ones that I can remember. I'm still digging right now. I'm just I just want to tear it up and every way I can. I just found like 50 Pete Rock remixes that were outside of Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Like because it was at the time when we did the remix. Like remixes were real big, and he was the man.
Yeah.
Puffy says he invented the remix, but it probably was Pete Rock though.
Yeah, no, Pete Rock was he had his own lane when it came to that music, man. And he's one of the tops. What about what's my man's name? He got into it with some of the Duck Down guys. Well, no, with Mobb Deep, I think. But I don't know if he's originally from 914.
Who's that?
Name? Oh man. I can't remember it right now, but I remember meeting him, and every time I went to meet him, it was like we were in Terrytown or somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was just out there last night. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that there's a group that I did a video for. They were from the Bronx and from Yonkers, True Culture.
Okay, I remember that name.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the song to save my life. I had to look them up, but I remember that name though.
True Culture. And they still, one of them is still up in 914 now. I think he's in Yonkers. And I'm trying to think. Well, the Young Guns, the Young Guns. Didn't they have
Young Guns from Mount Vernon, right?
Mount Vernon, yeah, they had a record, right?
Right, I, the Young Guns.
Yeah,
that was all under Pete Rock.
Yeah.
The dude that I don't know if it was his real brother, but he called him his brother, Grap Lover. He's on a couple of Pete Rock songs. I think he might have had a single or something. I don't know if he had any videos. I know I think I had a few videos. Fake and Jacks, I think was one of them. Yeah,
Fake and Jacks, we definitely played that.
Yeah. So Pete had a couple of groups up here, but yeah, the Young Guns were the they had a little crew musically, but they was the thugs in the neighborhood. Like they were, like when Hev would go, it's funny because I lived in Long Island at the time. And when Hev would go to a club and I would hear these stories on Long Island, you know how like back in the days when Brooklyn was coming, they go, oh, here come Brooklyn. Right. That's how people felt about the Young Guns. Like,
right.
If Hev was there, like 50 of them came to see Hev, and they usually tore things up afterwards. So
they would come when Pete Rock and CL Smooth performed. They was right there, In fact, I remember when Pete Rock and CL Smooth, they had this thing, Rap's New Generation. No, not Rap's New Generation. It was whenever they got signed to Elektra Records. And so it was Pete Rock and CL Smooth, LONS, Leaders of the New School, Brand Nubians. They were all on Elektra.
Right.
And and Young Guns started acting up in the spot, you know.
Yeah.
But it
And
was all
there's also, I know, so another dude I came across. I know you know the name Danger Mouse. He did like
oh
mashup
yeah,
tapes. He's
yeah,
from White Plains.
oh
He did that Gray album where he took
yeah.
the Beatles White album and the Jay-Z's Black album. Oh my God, that I still
That's a
play that to
classic.
this day. That's incredible. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a classic. Yeah, I have that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else he's did. I just know that one out, but I know he's done other things. But yeah, he's from White Plains, which is out here. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah. I mean, look, this is all, you know, it's like to me, Long Island, you know, it's Long
yes,
Island,
yes,
you know, it's all part of it, you know, and everybody didn't grow up in the Bronx
right,
and, you know, and we all had our own unique style to whatever community that you were in. If you were in Yonkers, Yonkers was different than Mount Vernon and
right,
New Rochelle. And if you were in, you know, like well, Marley did a lot of those recordings in 914, Marley Marl
right,
later
right.
on,
Yeah.
because he lived in
Well, he lived further up Spring Valley. I think
Spring
that's
Valley.
actually, yeah,
Right.
that's above Westchester. I think that's Rockland or Putnam counties or one. Yeah,
Oh,
is he
yeah,
from?
because I remember we used to go to his house all the House of
Yeah,
Hits.
I was at we did his radio show. He would do the radio show out of there at some point.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We went straight there. We were listening. They hit the button, and we would live on BLS from his house. Like he was
Yeah.
doing the radio show from his house in Spring Valley for a while. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So that is, you know, I mean, every area has its own unique, you know, blueprint, you know, and that's the cool thing about, you know, as we started to learn later on when it started to reach other parts of the world or other parts of the country, that everything was unique, you know, and if you traveled and you went on the road, you
right,
know, you saw these things ahead of time. You knew
right,
what was going on in Atlanta before it popped off and what was happening in St. Louis and
right,
Chicago and Detroit, everywhere, you know. And the thing about videos, and because I played videos, is that you saw these places,
right, right,
saw how people dressed, and you saw the cars that they drove, and you know, just the vibe of, you know, what it was like in those particular communities. You know, I remember going to Detroit, you know, and like, okay, this is a whole vibe over here in Detroit.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Detroit is a lot. There's a lot that comes out of Detroit. You know, techno music comes out of Detroit.
right,
You know, all this stuff that you know is influenced everything. You know, and that has to influence Toronto because it's right there. You know, and
right,
you know all of these things. You know, just a little bit of influence then goes a long way. So everywhere is important. You know, people go like, oh, you know, New York, New York. Yeah, New York is a big city. It's one of the
right,
biggest cities in the world. So of course it's very influential. But anywhere to me where there's a port, you know, like where, you know, boats and stuff come in and go out, you know, or
yeah, yeah, yeah,
airports, you know, like
yeah,
those are major because people get your music in weird ways. You know,
right,
sometimes it's, you know, it was a mixtape passed around, or if it was in my case, VHS tapes sent overseas, and guys that were in the Marines or the Army or the Navy, whatever, was sending them out to Detroit. I mean to like Germany and places like
right,
that.
right,
And you know, and all of a sudden I had like this whole big thing happening in Germany or in Japan or even in our first time I went to Africa, you know, like it was a whole vibe because they had VHS copies of it. And
right.
I had no idea, you know. So um yeah, when people want to get it, they'll get it.
In the early days in Long Island, so I was in Long Island from 7 to 14. I was born here, but I was 7 to 14, and then I came back here for high school. Then I've been back and forth, but I would come even when I was in Long Island. I would come to Mount Vernon every summer, and I would bring tapes and videotapes back to Long Island.
Mhm.
And every place in Long Island couldn't get video music box. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? So I would
right.
bring the videotapes out there, and that's how they would see some of it. And I'd bring like Cold Crush, second, third, fourth generation Cold Crush tapes and stuff out there. And that's how they got a lot of that stuff because I used to
Yeah.
bring it out. So I had the pleasure, I was just thinking when I was writing this. So Strong Island and Mount Vernon I'm like a combination. They both made me. They both, I spent so much time in both. I'm a little bit of product of both. That's why I'm torn. I need to do this 914 book but I'm also probably gonna have to do a Strong Island book now, especially since I made Strong Island. So I gotta probably do a Strong Island book to follow this because I'm probably gonna hear it if I go.
I think you do, sir. I think you do, sir.
Yes. So, but this will be my third book. I just did a book. Well, you saw the first book. It was about how we got started. The second book just came out, celebrating the Black women of Westchester and their achievements and all that.
Oh.
So that's out now, which I'm getting a lot of love between Black History Month and Women's History Month. I'm speaking everywhere. I'm doing a library tour. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, so we got to have you come to Queens, man.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm doing a whole library tour. And then this hip hop book will be coming out in August. So I was just gonna be like, this will be the first one that you really don't have to be from Westchester to really feel, because everybody love having, you know what I'm saying. So you might not. Everybody didn't care about how we got started in the first book, and everybody don't really know the women in the second book, but everyone knows Brand Nubians and Heavy D and DMX and all these people. So this will probably be the first like nationally received book, which I'm really excited about this.
No, that's exciting. I was, in for Women's History Month, we have Leland Robinson from Sugar Hill, the son.
Wow.
He runs the estate because his mom and dad passed and the brothers all passed. So he was the youngest, but he runs the estate for Sugar Hill. So we're gonna he's gonna talk about his mom.
Okay.
March 23rd, and and just growing up, in a hip hop house, in Sugar Hill, and hearing all the stories, and his approach to everything was totally different. All the contracts that guys were, kind of stuck under, he redid it and made sure they could do their thing. And he's going to bring Wonder Mike with him that day. Sylvia was, soul singer, but they were around, like the gangsters, the mafia types, and her husband, back in the days, and they were involved in hip hop, all of those, like the labels, like that the Fat Boys were on, Sutra, and I can remember because one of my friends, Davey DMX from Queens, Davey D, he really was producing a lot of those records. He showed Jam Master Jay how to make music.
Right. Because that's what they mentioned in the first. Dave cuts the record down to the bone. That's what
So Dave would, he knew he was around all that gangster stuff, back in the days. Curtis Blow was producing some of those records, and they were just trying to, get in, like we just want to get in, and do something. So you hear all those crazy stories, but Sylvia and Joe, her husband, was part of that. So like when Rapper's Delight came out, like everybody was taking a piece of the record, like it's not like they even had it on their own, like, because whole music was kind of dying out, and those people who had those labels were like, we got to make money. And then all of a sudden KTU starts playing Rapper's Delight, and it's a dance record, so everybody, all of the gangsters was like going to the stores and say, yeah, that's my record, and taking them. So by the time it got to Joe was like, man, it didn't sell as much as we thought, but it was selling, but everybody was taking the money.
Right. So I wish I could get the books of B-Boy Records. That's what B-Boy Records was. Same thing. Like, there was like 3 set of books from what I hear, like the books for the artists, the books for the IRS, and then the real books. Nobody saw the real books. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I'd love to be able to, and it's not even just like I could recoup all that money, but from everything I've been told, Strong Island actually did go gold or platinum, and the album might have gone gold. And I would just love to get that certified and have that plaque on my wall. But more importantly, every time you said my name, you have to say platinum was gold recording artist. Like I just, that's all I want. That's really all. I'm not even at this point. I'm not even thinking I'm gonna get the money at this point. But just the acknowledgement finally. So
you put in that work.
That's been a fight that we it ain't been a great fight. B-Boy was crooks, and then they licensed it to other crooks. So there's like 12, 20 licensing deals overseas. Like it's like hard to crack the nut to, so
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's I've heard KRS talk about it,
right. And I wish he would have talked to me. The last time I saw him, he was like, "Wait, JVC Force, did I sign you?" I said, "No." He said, "Oh, I was about to apologize to you." I said, "Yeah, but I wish you would have broken down before we signed." You know what I'm saying? Like you'd have broken down to us a little, because you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They were on their way out because we signed in '87, so we were actually months before Scott got killed.
Right. Okay.
So we were signed. The record came out January '88, but and then Scott got killed sometime, I think in the fall of '87. We signed like in that, so we signed about 3-4 months before Scott got killed. So I actually met him once or twice. I mean, I can't say we was cool, but I actually only met him once or twice,
Yes.
And I really saw KRS back then because he was trying to get the hell out of there. So
Right.
I saw KRS more on, like y'all did. I never saw him in the label or nothing like that because he was trying to get out. So
right, he's trying to get out.
I actually knew him. I actually met him later in life, and we connected. But I didn't know him back then. But Scott, I actually did meet once or twice though. And then him getting killed, it was like, oh wow, like
yeah. So. I only met Scott maybe once.
Yeah,
maybe once, and I know that with The Bridge Is Over, when they did the video, this girl shot the video, and she didn't know how to edit. She didn't know how to make videos. She came to me, and she was like, "Ralph, what do I do?" She said, "I shot the video." I was like, "Really?" I said, "Oh, okay." So I told her what to do. And KRS-One thinks that I did the video, but I didn't do it. I'm like, nah, it was this girl, and she shot it, and she had it, and I told her what to do, where to go, and I might have even put it onto an editor, but I physically didn't do that.
Right.
I remember having the conversation, and I said, well, when you finish the video, just give it to me. So we were the first really to play that video,
right?
And then years later, I can't remember the guy's name from B-Boy Records, black dude. He came. I was working at Hot 97. He called me. He said, "Yo, man, you the only one that has the video, and we need a copy of it." So I was like, "Yo, did you ever pay the girl?"
Right. That's what happened they actually shot a video. We shot a video. They never paid the company. And it's funny. This is before De La. I forget which one of our songs it is. We're doing the whole classroom scene in the high school and Central High School.
Oh, wow.
The whole thing that De La ended up running with, and we had the 1 or 2 skits too. Way before they end up, Prince Paul took that to a whole nother level. But we had a video and everything. All our friends from CI was there. We were all in there. They never paid for it. And had I known and been the hustler that I am now, the businessman, I would have kept in touch with them. And I'd have been like, how much do y'all want? Even though I had to keep paying a little something till I got it. Like, I'd have owned that video. But, at this point, I don't even know who they are. They never got paid. And the contract is important when you read the contract. The contract said they had to shoot a video. That's what the contract said. They shot a video.
Wow. Okay.
It didn't say they had to release it.
Right.
It said they had to shoot a video. They had a video shot. So, you know what I'm saying? That was when I was trying to get off. We couldn't get off on that clause because they shot a video.
That's crazy.
They didn't pay the people, and I'm sure it's scrapped now because I'm sure it would have came out if it was still existing.
You never know. Could be sitting in somebody's house in some box somewhere.
Well, I find it. I will make a deal with that individual and get that and own it. Like,
yes,
yeah, because but they shot a video though, so it was but they didn't pay. B-Boy didn't pay the people.
Yeah, that's what they was doing. Then they jerked the girl around, and first thing I said was, "Did you pay the girl?" And he looked at me like, "What are you talking about?"
I learned to get money because of them. So I found out, like, I first met Dave Mays at Harvard. He's calling me up because he called the label. The label gave my number. He's calling me up because all the stores in Boston are ordering the song, but they can't get it. So Dave knows all the owners of the store. So he's got me. So he get me in touch with all of them, and I'm talking to him. I go in the label. I'm like, yo, these people are ordering. Oh, I'm gonna get them out. I'm gonna get them out. So a month or so later, he's like, yo, they still don't have it. So I found out what a thing called consignment was. So I was like, I went and got, a couple of 100 records, and got the label to pay me to go down there.
Got it.
So I got Kurt, the DJ, to stand up there talking to him, and they had the garage, and I loaded up his mom's Maxima with all the records I could stuff in there. They had record label wrong. They had Criminal Minded on the JVC in the JVC Force box. So I actually had Criminal Minded too. So I was like, yo, one box of that. I sold all the records in all the stores in Boston, and that's how I was getting money, because they wasn't paying me. Like, yo,
that's crazy.
And I actually used to go in the stores. This before SoundScan. I would go in stores and I would put 3 records in there, and I would send 4 people. So the first one would buy a record. They just selling it. They don't know that they the same label, the same logo, the B-Boy Records is KRS, so they just selling it. So as the third person is up there, I had the fourth person go, yo, where you get that? I can't find it. He goes, right over there. So I'm like, yo, I looked, I can't find it. And the guy's like, he's like, yo, when you gonna get some more of these? And he goes on the label and he starts, and he ordered, like, yo, I need another order of this. Like, it was like, you're stupid. You gave away 3 records. I said, yeah, but they ended up selling 300 records. So.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't have but you can't do that now. Sound, everything with the sound scan and everything. You couldn't do that these days.
Oh yeah, these dudes there was all kinds of dudes, man. I knew cats that's all they did was scamming records, and they worked in the postal part of the record label.
Oh yeah.
And they was snatching boxes, and they were like, yo, what you need? And I'm like, where'd you get that? Like,
right. Yeah. So anything else I didn't ask you that has to do with the 914 Westchester Hip-Hop videos? Anything ever, as someone who plays videos, graphically or visually, that was like amazing, like that when you think of a video that came out the 914 that you remember because of the visual, I hope you understand the question. I'm not sure if I'm wording it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think for me, I feel like Heavy D and the boys don't get the credit. That's why I keep bringing Heavy D and the boys.
No, absolutely.
They were just, just so versatile, and I got it from day one, and I understood what they were about. And I guess maybe because Andre is not around, Uptown doesn't really exist anymore.
Right.
Excuse me. But down to to the first, big hit, Mr. Big Stuff, like that was what everybody went through, the video, like trying to convince your parents, let us do a jam in the little bar down the block, that was, that was like, that's hip hop. That is hip hop to the essence, And so I think that we've lost some of the culture as time has gone by. Certain things you don't see that really exists in real time for artists. Everybody's, got an amazing background, is shot in 6K, and it's all sparks and lights and effects, but we miss part of the culture. And I think that was the cool thing about back then, even, in the lyrics, and, certain things you might talk about now, you might not, back then you might not talk about now.
Right.
But I think that is why, the culture was so impactful at that particular time, and it was just, amazing. So, hey, look, everything changes. I get it, and I'm glad I'm still here to talk about it. But
Me too.
But I'm glad that artists are still making music. People go, oh, I hate the new music. I won't say I hate it. I'll say that it's evolving. Things are going to change.
And I'm old enough, I'm smart enough now, finally, to understand I am not their demographic that they're recording to.
Exactly.
Like my mom and then was not feeling what we were doing. I had older relatives that was not feeling what we were doing, but it was for us. It was our demographic. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. I've been cool enough that I've been able to flow with some of the demographics, but I'm officially at a point now. I am no longer in that demographic they are recording for. And I have to, and they're speaking realistically, they're speaking to their demographic on the ish that they're going through. Like the same way we was dealing with, the crack era was a big thing, and that's all you heard a lot of the pros and cons and everything about the crack. This is what's going on right now. And like Ice Cube said before the riots, you need to listen to the lyrics to explain what's going on. They kind of predicted that there would be like a riot type of situation. We kind of need to listen to some of what these kids are saying. Crazy as it sounds,
yes,
there's crying out. Like, I mean, we were trying to express ourselves. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? PE, and NWA, fuck the police. We were all expressing ourselves. We need to kind of listen because, there's an explosion at the end of this if they don't get heard. And,
yes,
so that's where I'm at now, as opposed to a lot of other people. Like,
right. You're not going. I'm not going to see you at the next Lil Uzi concert.
Oh, no. My daughter is officially 33, 34, and the last young thing you would have seen me at was the Scream Tour and Bow Wow and UG. Yeah, I understand why that was called the Scream Tour, and I know what 16,000 young girls screaming sound like now, for real. And I'll never get that out of my ear. But yeah, that's probably the youngest thing you won't see me at. Anything. No, you won't see. I'm at a point now for the first time. I hear a name and be like, yo, who's that? Like, there was never a time, because I was a writer, I was a rapper, there was never a time where, at least me, I was always doing, I always knew. And some of these bigger magazines, I didn't get the bigger artists, so I always got the new people. You know what I'm saying? So I always knew who the new people was. I don't know who none of these people are until I hear from, they be like, so-and-so died. Who? And I have to look them up. I'm like, yeah.
Every day, somebody got locked up. This one got shot. Something happened. I'm like, okay.
But this young generation, they crying out for help. Look at the basketball player with the gun.
Right.
Dude, what? Dude.
Right. I mean,
and a little gun too. That looked like it could have been a medallion on his chain, like that.
Right. I was like, what's happening? Yeah. I hope they nip that in the bud real quick.
I hope the elders in the basketball community pull him to the side. Yeah. And be like, yo, bro. You know what I'm saying? And educate him. Like, he needs to hear from like a Charles Barkley who was trying to throw people out the windows at clubs back in the days. Like, he needs to hear from some people like that, and they need to really get at him. And, we lose that in our culture too, where the elders are not getting at these young kids no more.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not about, like, these kids are making so much money. It's good. We did the work so you can make that money. So it wasn't always like that. But now that you are making it, please, man, hold on to it because it don't last forever, man. It could go away just like that. So we've seen it happen.
Yeah, Bustin' and benefited from Chuck D and them. You know what I'm saying? Like, the elders, like, bringing them up, like in rap boot camp almost. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they benefited from that, and we don't have that going on. These young boys, they put up something on the internet, it go viral, and they get a deal. Like,
right? They want 20,000 to show up at the club to do that one song the next day.
Right.
I'm like, y'all got like one song, like they no promo, no nothing.
Right. So anything I didn't ask you about Westchester rap and videos or anything you want to share?
No, we
so
good.
So video music box. So I have it there. This is what, the 30th anniversary? Is that correct? Like, oh wow, see, good thing I asked.
Yeah.
40th anniversary.
In 1983. Yeah.
Okay, so wow, just 10 years younger than 10 years younger than hip hop. Like, yeah. So is it still on every weekend or every
Yeah, it's on every weekend. NYC TV in New York. 12 midnight on Saturday nights, and Thursdays is technically Friday morning, 2:30 a.m. Okay, and it's on for an hour, and we play some of the new stuff, but like right now, because it's Hip Hop 50th anniversary, we've been flashing back, like whole interviews or shout outs at parties and things like that.
Right.
Bug out on, yeah.
We started. We had a video show in Long Island. It's called Street Vibes, and we did it for like a couple of years. And I used to be like, yo, Ralph don't put the song titles and the stuff on it. Yo, after doing that, realizing how hard, like, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
I still don't put the I'll be like this, I'll be like, yo, man, it's like the DJ. Remember when the DJ used to put the tape over the record?
Yeah. But I wanted to give that information. So, I wanted to say the video and the name of the artist at the bottom and everything. I wanted to look all professional. Yo, that's a lot of work. At some point, I was like, yo, I understand why Ralph don't do that.
But we wasn't really making money off of the show. We
wasn't either. But we, I had access to. I had a white guy that was down with me. He used to do like Macy's commercials and commercials for NBC, but he loved hip hop. I was hip hop, and he had all these editing suites and stuff. So we kind of partnered together, and you know what I'm saying. We would go to Billboard. We would go to the Billboard Awards or whatever, and he had the same camera.
Yes.
He had the same camera they did. We had the same headsets. So like we would go into Bryant Park and they would think that we were part of their crew. When they did the Source Awards at Madison Square Garden in the theater, we found a space down the ramp from the stage, and then I walked up to the dude and was like, yo, there's a video show down there. They want to interview. They want to know if it's okay to interview people when they come off the stage. The dude, because I had a headset, thought I worked for him and yelled at me, you walk all of them down there and you walk them back up and you don't let them down. And so he's actually ordering me to walk people down to my show. Like, yo, word up. It's crazy. Like, yo, word. But that's the equipment he had.
Yes.
We had the same headset that they would happen to be using. This dude thought I worked for him.
Yeah, that's how it was.
So we got Oakley back then. We got Sam Cassell, all of the people that was just there, John Singleton, we got everybody down the ramp. Yeah, it was like, yo.
Hey, look.
I wish I still had that I had none of that footage.
Where's it at?
The guy got it, but he's like, it's on something. He got whatever format it's on. He has to sit there and put it on another format for me, and that's a lot of work. And I don't think he really.
That's a lot.
And he's going on to do so much other stuff that it's just like something in the box for him. Like it's more important to me than it is for him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but some of that stuff.
I'm still gonna try to like you really, because I got Kid Capri birthday party and I'm talking to KRS. I got Chris John when they first came out there singing for Jay-Z and them. I had like mad footage. Like we actually went to the some concert. I think Montel Jordan and Boys to Men and we got permission from the record company. We could plug into the system, but we could only shoot a minute of the first song and something of this. So we went up and we got the legit stuff. Then we got up in the stands and then he zoomed out and he got the whole show. Like
all of that footage is valuable. It's I mean, it's probably on beta.
Probably because I didn't know. Yeah,
you have to have a beta machine to play it back, and then you can just do it right to your hard drive or your laptop because
See, that's what I need him to do for me, and then send it to me.
It's in real time. It's it takes It's
like I said, it would take we got hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of footage. Like that would be,
that's a couple of weekends. Yeah.
Right. So he just hadn't had the time, and it's not a priority thing for him.
Got it.
And it means a lot more to me, like I said, than it does to him.
Yeah.
Because I got early people from I got early stuff from I got Lord Jamal talking about how Brand Nubians got started and how Pooba used to borrow his gold chain when he was in Master of Ceremony, but that was Pooba, so he was proud to give Pooba his chain, and rock it and chill with Pooba, yeah.
Nah, that's that kind of stuff is important. That's what I do. I preserve, video and stuff like that. So even if there's a couple of things that you want to see, maybe you haven't seen in a while, I can help out with that, because I have a beta machine.
Right.
I gotta have a whole machine, and
he's moved from New York too, and he's in Oklahoma or somewhere, some state.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like if he was in New York, I'd go to his house and bug him.
Right. Don't put it in a box and put your name on it. Don't throw it away. Whatever you do.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit him. I'm gonna hit him again. But yeah. So anyway, this is my new book. Called "We Got Our Own Thing: A Look at Hip Hop in the 914."
All right, man. Well, I look forward to the book, and then if you need me for anything else, I'm here, brother. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your time too. I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you for your time.
No problem. Thank you.
No doubt.